Little Godzilla, wow, I cannot believe you are alive. And, dude, you have like no nipples. I mean, that's how you were born, really.
Give him a break, give him a break, you gotta give him a break, man.
And we are testing 1, 2, and 3, testing 1, 2, and 3. Are we going to freeze this time? We're going to continue? Yes, yes, are we a go? Are we a go? Okay. But a few glitches in the software this morning. This morning. Well, it is this morning. It's 2:39 in the morning. I promised my poor wife I would be in bed by 3. I lied. Yes, I am a liar. I'm wearing a funky hat that I actually picked up on the street because someone dropped it, and it was like, and I picked it up and took it home and washed it, because that's the kind of guy I am. I'm a guy who picks up crap off the street. I thought it was funny. Use it in a skit or something, but I actually ended up liking it. It is a laundry vlog. This is a laundry vlog. That means I'm going to blab and blah, blah, blah for a few hours. So it doesn't matter what kind of hat I'm wearing. It doesn't matter that I'm actually, check this out. This is a whiskey. Oh, I don't actually like highballs. These are highballs. I prefer drinking real whiskey, you know. Almost done with this. Woo, look at that. That video I put up a video on Gimmeabreakman just explaining everything. If you haven't seen that video, I'd be really interested in knowing. Go to Gimmeabreakman. It's called The Best Day of My Life. It's up on Gimmeabreakman. Did I mention this on Gimmeabreakman? Anyway, that pretty much details. It's an edited short version for the people who have no patience for these laundry vlogs. God, I'm all over the place, and I have so much to do and so much to talk about and no time. Okay, so this is a laundry vlog, which means I'm going to babble for who knows how long until the camera's, you know, this is an SLR camera that stops every 12 minutes. Yeah, so let's get to it. So, hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to be talking about the kid and the whole process, I guess. I did talk about this on Hiko Simon's channel. Not Hiko's, my channel, but on the 2.5 Oyajis. I bought that $3, you know. I thought it was funny. And I thought I would just share with you how I feel about the whole thing. A lot of you have seen already, know a little bit about my feelings and such. But I thought in this case I will, what do you call it? Exfoliate? No. I will expound, extrapolate. I will explain in further detail how I feel and all that. Now, I'm going to try to forget about you guys and just talk to myself, I guess. Maybe I'll pretend I'm talking to my kid. Yeah, I'll do that. How about that? Little Godzilla. It took 2 minutes and 30 seconds to figure out how I'm going to do this video, but anyway, that's half the battle, right? Dear little Godzilla, welcome to this world. You were born on Monday at 12:07 a.m. By cesarean section. Your poor mother suffered so much to have you. And now that you're here, well, I got to tell you, I'm surprised. And I thought it would be interesting for you, maybe someday, to come back and watch this video and learn a little bit about your old man. I'll probably be dead by then, by the time you get around to watching this, but who knows. First of all, let me explain to you who I am in this form. As you know, I'm your father. By the time you've seen this video, I probably would have yelled at you a couple times for doing stupid stuff. I'm sure we had a lot of fun. Hopefully, we talked Mom into getting us a new dog. Hopefully. And we probably talked we probably will, you know, we probably convinced you easily and told you all about Maggie. Hell, we maybe even called the new dog Maggie. I don't know. Unless it's a boy. Just so you can understand what I'm doing here, this kind of video that I'm doing is called a laundry video, and you'll probably be really surprised to know that for some bizarre reason, people on the internet like to listen to me talk. So I make videos. You might think, well, God, why don't you just make a podcast? Because do they still have podcasts in the future? Who knows? Well, yeah, it's a good point, but I'm on YouTube, and on YouTube I make these, and some people watch. Some people don't, but you don't have to watch. That's the point of the laundry video, because I'm sure that even in the future, laundry will take more time than most things. Unless people in the future just like make new clothes on those 3D machines, you know. Who knows? Who knows what happens in the future? That would be pretty cool. But anyway, this is what I do. I just talk and talk and talk, and people listen and do their chores or exercise. They study. They do different things while they listen to these long videos. Anyway, today's video, of course, like I said, is just talking to you. So let me go back and explain a little bit about myself, son. That's weird to say to me, but your dad was a bit of a playboy, I suppose. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. And he never intended on marrying your mother. Your mother and I met at one of my students' weddings. Okay, she put us at the same table because she thought that Yoko, your mom, spoke English, but Yoko doesn't, or she didn't. She speaks English pretty well now, as you probably know. She probably yelled at you in English by now. She yells at me in English already. Like, I don't care. She knows how to say that really well, right? Very good accent now. She put us at the same table, along with these other English speakers, and actually other people there. There were these two young cool guys who were surfers from California, who happen to live in Japan now, but they were Japanese, right? And your mother was there wearing a kimono, and she looked very conservative, but and she wore kind of nerdy glasses, the stylish nerdy, hips. I guess we call them hipster glasses. I guess a little bit like these, a little bit, right? And we didn't really talk much, at all, really. But we were polite, I suppose, to each other. I think I spent more time talking to the surfer dudes. Anyway, I spoke Japanese already. その時もう日本語できたからね。僕の日本語まだ下手って分かってるけど、多分君の方がもう上手だけど。For those of you watching, I just said, well, I spoke Japanese back then. I'm sure my kid's better watching this now. He's probably much better now, than I am. But anyway, I spoke Japanese back in those days too. Not as well, of course, and I'm getting better all the time. I still suck, I mean, compared to all the other foreigners, I'm like top 5%, but everybody sucks. So. Yeah, remember that, son. Everybody sucks because nobody tries. Yeah, you got to try. That's 90% of the battle is just trying. No, 90% of the battle is just showing up. 9% is trying. 1% is genius. Actually, none of those numbers make any sense. Forget about that. We'll talk about that later. I gotta hone that. But anyway, so I met your mom. Then that was it. I think there was another party at another place. I think it was my brother. I think my brother opened up a school in the middle of town. It's closed soon after that. But he opened up a school, and we went, and I think I invited my student. I don't remember exactly, but Yoko and I ended up being at the same party again. And my student kept bugging us, like, you should ask her out, you should ask her out. And she was going to Canada. I remember she was going to go to Canada and do a homestay. And me being the proverbial bachelor, I never intended to get married. I thought, well, that's cool. We'll just hang out for a couple of months. Now, son, before you get all huffy, I wasn't planning on, using your mom or, treating her badly. I just thought, that's good. We'll have a nice short relationship, if at all. And she'll go to Canada and we'll never see each other again. Or that's it, Anyway, I wouldn't have a girlfriend because I didn't want a girlfriend. Yeah, so, but we ended up going out. Like, I'll tell you about our first date. And I'm not going to tell you about every single day because it'll go on forever. But our first date, we just went to an izakaya in Nagoya Station area. And we had a nice time just chatting. And there was nothing like super crazy about it. We just had a good time. And at the end, I just gave her a hug. And she was like kind of shocked, like, oh, he's hugging me. But she told me later that it was a good hug. And I was good at hugging. And I walked away, and I treated her with respect, son. But we started dating, I guess, little by little, very slowly. Because your mom was a good girl. She still is a good girl, I hope. God damn it, I hope. I'm not even religious, but I hope she's still a good girl. This is something we Christians do, son. I'm not really sure what it means anymore, but we used to do it when I was a boy. Anyway, we started dating, and she told me one day she's not going to go to Canada. And I thought, oh, okay, well, that's not what I was planning, but whatever. We dated, and eventually, I thought, okay, this is not good because she's a nice girl, and I can't just keep leading her on because it's going to eventually lead to marriage, right? I didn't want to get married, so I broke it off with her. We had little fights. I started dating these other girls, or another girl, and then another girl. And I met your mom a little bit after that. And I told, and, she said, what's going on? I said, seeing this other girl. Didn't want to get her hopes up. She's like, I'm seeing a boy too, so that was cool. But one thing led to another, because we liked each other. We started dating again. Anyway, years later, I gave up. Your mom wore me down. And we got this dog, right? We got this dog, Maggie. And I love the way it wasn't just the dog, of course, but there was actually a couple crises in my life. And your mother, I don't want to get into that now, it's too complicated, but your mother she stuck by me, even though something had happened and I used to be like the big man in town here in Nagoya. Like I was the foreigner, everybody was, and not, don't be confused. I wasn't fooled by everyone's sycophancy. That means being phony. Everyone's phony to me because everyone wanted me to give them a job or wanted me to buy them drinks at my bar. Well, I used to own a bar and they wanted me to get them drinks at the bar. They wanted to kiss my ass because I was, I knew all the cool band members from the hip rock and roll band, whatever. Probably half of that was probably in my head, but half of it wasn't for sure. And some things happened and I suddenly found myself outside of the whole Gaijin community. Now, so I don't know how you feel about yourself. If you think you're Japanese or if you think you're Gaijin, I don't care. It doesn't matter. This is, for now at least, it's our country. And we can do whatever the hell we want because we live here, we pay taxes, and if people want to accept us, great. If people don't, fine. People want to call you Gaijin, fine. If people don't, if you consider yourself Japanese, fine. It's all up to you. It doesn't really matter. You're you, no matter what people say. Or even you say, you're still you. That doesn't matter to me. Anyway, so your mom stuck with me at that time, in a hard time. And I realized that she was loyal and she cared about me and nothing changed, If anything, she's like, screw all those guys, which is a surprise because your mom's a nice woman. Well, maybe you don't know that because she's your mom, but she was like, screw all those people, And after that, I think she became even more protective of me. So when she thought people were using me, she would, say, no, forget about him. He's just using you for YouTube fame, which is silly, as you and I both know. Or when people treated me badly, which was not that often. Most people are very nice, but once in a while there'd be somebody who treated me badly. And she would just say, screw that person, So we got married. And we had the dog. And everything was great. And we were really, I guess, pretty happy. But, actually, when we had of course we had ups and downs like every marriage. There's problems with the jobs, her job, my job. But everything was kind of smoothed out in 2014, the year you were conceived. And then March 24th, Maggie died. And Maggie was our dog, she was our daughter, and we loved her very much. And even now, making this video, it's kind of hard to talk about her. But because I blame myself, even though I know it was, I just made a decision. She had to get an operation, or not, but she was suffering. So I made a choice to get her an operation so she could maybe live her life a little bit more pleasantly, because she was walking around like breathing hard. So I thought, I'm going to go in there and have the doctors go in there, fix her mouth up a little bit so she can breathe. She can breathe easier. And I took her to the hospital on the 24th. It wasn't supposed to be a big operation, but the dog. I saw her off. She was still standing on the table, and the doc said, come back I'll call you in about an hour. So I left her. I think she called me back in about an hour. She said the dog is fine. She's standing up. And then she calls me another 30 minutes later and says, can you come right now? Because we're losing her. And I called Yoko as quickly as I could. I had the car with me. I don't know if we had a black van. On YouTube I called my black Lamborghini, but we had this black van. I rushed there and Yoko borrowed a car from work. The company car, and she rushed work to the veterinarians, and Maggie was already dead. Her tongue was hanging out. They were pumping on her, and your mom and I we were pretty bad. We cried so much. The dog was on the table, and I know you're thinking it's just a dog, but she was our puppy. So anyway, look what you made me do. Anyway, so that was tough. But we had a great funeral, and about like 14 people came to the funeral. It's a dog's funeral, and after it settled down, we decided, okay, that's enough. We've had a dog, and it's time to have a real family, So we started thinking about you, And a month and a half later, after we there were a couple of problems. We had to go to see a doctor about some medical conditions we had. It wasn't completely smooth. Your mom had to have a small operation. I don't know if I talked about that on YouTube, but your mom was in the hospital for a small condition. And later that year, I had a small operation on my back. That just made things. My back thing didn't have anything. And a month later. I think it was like a month and a half later or so. Your mom was pregnant, maybe May. March 24th, Maggie died, March, April. Yeah, I think by May, we were already pregnant with you. Now, we were pregnant, but we weren't really sure. And it was your mom's birthday. Oh, it must have been July then. June? No, when's your mom's birthday? July, right? So, on your mom's birthday, she brought a sonar ultrasound and gave it to me as a birthday present. That was a picture of you. You were just a little dot. You looked like a spot on a radar. And that's when it started. So you were, by the way, you gave your mom a lot of, what are called, tsuwari, or morning sickness. Your mom was not very happy for a long time. Her legs, you swole up her legs. And she had stomach aches a lot. She couldn't drink anymore. I don't know how she is now, but back in the day, your mom could drink. We would drink together. I probably still drink now, right? Let me know, do I drink? Anyway, you were due February 15th, which is the day after Valentine's Day, which everyone thought would be so romantic if you were a girl, But, and here's the thing, everybody knew you were a boy except me. My dad knew Mully, remember that big guy from YouTube, Mully, he knew, I think Kazuko knew. I don't know if you know her now, but she was a girl on YouTube. All my family knew. My brother didn't know, I think. I didn't know. Regan didn't know. I hope he's still around. Regan, by the way, went into the hospital the same week that you were delivered, so that was a pain in the ass. Because if he had died, we would have to name you Regan, which would have been stupid because we would be naming you after someone who just died, which would have been dumb, right? That's like asking for trouble, right? Anyway, so everyone knew you were a boy except me. I didn't want to know, but I wanted a boy. And the reason I wanted a boy is because all your cousins, well, on Uncle Raul's side, all his kids are girls, right? So they can't carry on the family name. And we love Grandpa, right? We love Papito, we love Mamita, but our name is Bojo. And we needed another Bojo to carry on our name. And that's you, right? If you'd been a girl, I would have loved you anyway, But it's hypothetical, so who knows? Maybe I would have hated you. Mom wanted a girl. Now, I'm sure she loves you. Don't be mad. But she wanted a girl because probably by now we know that you are a big pain in the butt. And you've probably caused a lot of problems or broken a lot of things. And maybe you've even been arrested or something. Who knows? But Yoko thought, your mom thought, a girl would just be easier. And Maggie was a girl, so they were going to, and they teamed up against me back then, so she figured she could just repeat it. But I was like, no, we want a boy. So about a month before you were due, actually it was a month, yeah. On January 15th, exactly 1 month before you were due, your mom went in for an appointment, and they discovered that she had high blood pressure. That's because of the pregnancy, because she was carrying you. Not your fault, but And they kept her, and this becomes a long, boring story, but basically for 1 week, we wanted to have you at Narita Byoin in Oskanon. But because of the high blood pressure, they thought it was too dangerous, so they moved your mom to Nakamura Niseki Byoin, which is probably we probably still live here in this house, down the street. Hopefully we moved into a huge mansion, but maybe not. They moved you there by emergency, by ambulance. And your mom was she thought that was really cool. Your mom's a nerd. She thought that was fun. I've been in 3 ambulances, buddy. Your mom's only been in 1, so. So they moved her to the big hospital. And she had high blood pressure, so they were giving her medicine to try to lower that. But the thing is, you can't have high blood pressure too long. You get sick, so it's really bad for you. So after about a week or so, they decided to try to. No, it was actually about 5 days. No, it was a week. It was a week. One of those stupid conversations. So they decided to try to induce the pregnancy. So they gave her some medicine. I think it was called oxytocin, and they drip it into your veins. And they drip it at a rate of 80. I'm not really sure what that means. I'm guessing 80 milligrams an hour or something. And then it causes jinsu, or contractions, and it's really painful. So your mom was going through that, and they started, I think, on like a Thursday or something. By Friday, nothing. Oh yeah, the doctor said we got to get you out by Sunday, or we're gonna have to do a teo sekai, or a C-section. And your mom tried really hard. I was with her almost the whole time. I went home on, I think, Saturday for an hour and a half, 2 hours to sleep, to take a shower. And anyway, we went back. Yeah, we had this doctor that your mom did not like. He was like, no matter what, we have to try to have a shizen bunben, a natural childbirth. And your mom was like, no, just cut him out of me. Just get the knife and cut him and take him out, right? And, Grandpa, Papito, he also said the same thing, by Facebook. Do they have Facebook in the future? On Facebook, he emailed me, or Facebook messaged me. And he said, do it. Just get the baby out. But the doctors, they said, look, just give us the medicine some chance. It's the best way. It's the safest way. So we said by Sunday morning, if there's no improvement, because on all day Saturday they're doing the medicine, and your mom was experiencing these painful contractions. On Sunday morning, they said that your mother was dilated 9 centimeters. By noon, that's what it was. In the morning there was no change, but by noon it was 9. So we said, okay, we only need 10. You need 10 centimeters to get the kid out. I don't know what that is, like that. And it finally got to that point, but it was really tough. They had to increase the medicine to 120 milligrams or whatever. 120 was on the machine. I don't know what it means. Maybe you'll know someday, but your mother was in real pain. And finally, about 9:30 that night, she went into the delivery room. About 9 o'clock, they prepped her, put her into the delivery room. I went in there. Your mother and I would pick up her head during the delivery as she pushed and pushed and tried to get you out, but you wouldn't come out. You were so stubborn. We called you. We were seriously thinking of calling you Ganko because you're so stubborn. And about 11:30, the chief doctor would come in and check every hour or so, which is only twice. She was only there for 2 hours, right? And by 11:30, he came in and he says, "Okay, we have 2 options. We can try to push the baby. But you were too up high in the stomach. You're up around here. So we got to push the baby down, or we can just do the C-section. So what do you want to do?" And your mother said, "Who's going to push down on my stomach?" And he said, "I'm going to." And she said, "Yades." She said, "No, I don't want you. If it's you pushing, forget it. I don't want it." If it was a nurse, because we had a really lovely nurse there. She was wonderful. I remember her name, Bamboo Inside. That should remind me in case. Anyway, she said no, and then so I said, so she said I want the C-section. So I'm like, oh my God, you just insulted the doctor. So I asked the doctor, who's going to do the C-section? He said, we'll do it together, me and this other doctor. There's another tiny, he was a guy who was kind of medium-sized, and there was a tiny little female doctor there. I can't remember her face because they were wearing a mask, right? But they're going to do it together. And I'm like, oh shit, she just insulted the doctor who's about to put a scalpel to her stomach. Scalpel, by the way, is mess. You know that. You know that. So they decided to do that. They prepped her. I stayed with her until they wheeled her away. And when they wheeled her away, I started thinking about, Maggie. I was like, oh no, the same thing is going to happen. I honestly thought your mother and you were going to die. After all this, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be alone. And I thought, if I'm alone, I think I'm going to change my life completely. Right? Strip bars and poker every night. No, just kidding. But your grandmother and I went to we had a private room, and we went to the private room to wait. And I was antsy. By the way, I tweeted out your birth on Twitter. Do they have Twitter in the future? It's a silly social media thing. You can only type 147 letters or something ridiculous like that. Anyway, we went back to the room. I was antsy. I couldn't really wait, so I went out to the convenience store and I got a beer. Oh yeah, the guy behind the counter was this guy from Vietnam, and he wanted to speak English with me. I encouraged him a little bit. I came back to the room. Soon they came to get me, and they said, "Do you want to see the baby?" And they knocked on the door, of our private room, and said, "Do you want to see the baby?" And I said, "What, already? I can?" And I think it must have been 1. They said they would come at 1 o'clock, and I think it was about 1:10 at that time, or 1:15 or so. Yeah, it was like 1:15. And I said, okay, and I followed her down the hall, and the nurse, it was the same nurse, the bamboo inside nurse, and she said, "Otokonoko datta yo ne?" So it's a boy, right? And I'm like, what? And I was so happy that I just screamed, and I'm in the hallway in the hospital, and I screamed so loud that this woman was like, this nurse, she was like, "Be quiet, we're in the hospital." She turned around and shushed me. Shh. And nobody shushes your dad, right? So she shushed me, and I followed her into the room, and you were lying in a bed. And you had your diapers on, and you were an hour and like 6 minutes old. And I went over, and as soon as I got to you were in one of these really expensive, they have these expensive baby cars that on wheels. They go pretty fast if you take the locks off them, the brakes off them. And you were sitting there in diapers, completely naked, of course. And you had a pink bracelet on your left leg and a blue bracelet, I think, on your left arm. And and of course you can't tell anything. What does that mean, right? Do you have both a penis and a vagina? Probably not, right? It's possible, but obviously now that you don't, unless the vagina's on the inside, and then we're going to have a big discussion. But so, by the way, the reason they do that, I think it's to confuse anyone who wants to steal a baby, right? Because they can't tell what sex it is then. But but the pink on the leg and the blue on the arm means boy, and pink on the arm and blue on the leg means girl. I don't know why they just don't put pink or blue on both, but I don't know. I talked to there's a very famous friend of ours. I hope she's still a friend in the future too, named Rachel. And maybe they got kids too by now. And June. And Rachel said, "That's silly. They should just have it one color. Why do they do that?" And I was like, "God, Rachel's smart. Why didn't I think of that?" Yeah. So, but you probably know that by now already. Anyway, they took me over to your table, and I was I just couldn't believe it, because honestly, I never thought I was going to have a kid. Like I told you, I never thought I was going to get married. I never thought I was going to marry your mom or anybody at all. And I was just, wow. Because, I had you when I was 47. 47 years old. Now, some of the dumb shits on YouTube, I know, all the people, a lot of dumb shits on YouTube. There's a couple comments, "Aren't you too old to have a boy?" Because people obviously don't understand how biology works, but "Aren't you too young to have a baby?" Too old. I'm sorry, too old to have a baby. Anyway, so I never thought I would have a kid. Aunt Kathy has kids, and Aunt Roll and Uncle Roll has kids. And probably by now even Aunt Claudia has kids. By the time you see this video. But I never thought I'd have kids. So I was just amazed. And if you watch that video, you'll be like, wow, Dad's so gay. And I know people don't speak like this in the future, but what I mean is Dad is so emotional. Yeah, I know. Your dad was brought up in the old days when people spoke like that. Sorry, son. I'm trying to get over that. I'm trying to get better. It slips out sometimes. Anyway, yeah. Who knows what the future's like? Are we all still politically correct? Who knows? So, and the nurse, she took off your diapers immediately to show me your junk. And I gotta say, I was pretty impressed, son. I was pretty impressed. The jewels and all that, and the whole equipment. You were fine. I think that was just to prove that you were a boy. I guess if you were a girl, she would have done the same thing. But there you were in all your glory, lying on the table, and you were crying immediately. You started crying, and I just lost awareness of everything around me. You were the only thing I saw. Your grandmother was right next to me, right on my left. Even now, I know she was there, but I cannot remember her. And the nurse disappeared. It was just you. You were the only thing I could see. And your mother was, I asked about your mother. I said, where's Yoko? And she says that she's still in surgery. But she had a camera, right? And she had a camera, and she showed me the camera like this. She said, look. And on the camera was a picture of you and Yoko together. And you had just come out of her belly. And it looked like you were smiling. You were like, and your eyes were like swollen shut. But it looked like you were smiling, and Yoko was smiling. And you're both together like at this angle. She's here and you're here. And your faces are both together. And it really looked like you were smiling. Like, hey, how you doing? But there you were in front of me crying. And like when the nurse showed me that, that's all I saw for a second. Like I just saw you. Everything else had kind of disappeared. And then the camera came in there, and I saw the picture on the screen of the camera. And I was like, "Oh wow, he looks like he's smiling." And then I just looked at you. I looked at your big feet. I made jokes about how you got a big wiener as well. I said, "Oh, chinchi mo oki ne, ashi oki ne, o chichi mo oki ne," and then. Then I thought, okay, I better make sure everything's there. So I started counting your toes. I counted them twice to make sure that you didn't have 6 toes or something. I heard that when you have 6 toes in Japan, they just cut one off immediately. And that must hurt. I'm glad you didn't have 6 toes because that would have hurt. And I wouldn't have let them cut off 6 toes. I think it would have been okay if you had, So what if some people got 5 toes? Oh, you can have 6, it's fine. So I counted all your fingers, I counted all your toes. I got to tell you, you had no nipples. Your nipples were tiny. They looked like your chest was dirty. You look like a doll that had nothing here. And it almost looked like I would just wipe my hand on your nipple, just brush it away because it was so tiny and almost not there. And that was it. That's basically it. I just looked at you forever. And then we went upstairs. They called me they gave us a little portable phone for the hospital. And they called me, and I went up to meet your mom. And she came out of the room. She was still drugged up, so she didn't feel too much pain. Which was good, because they cut her open, man, just for you, just to get you out, because you were so stubborn. And, they wouldn't let me stay in the hospital that night because they kept coming in to check her high blood pressure. And you stayed they put you in another room with all the other babies. And I know you don't remember this. If you do, it's a miracle. I hope we're making money off your brain if you can remember that, But I stayed with your mom. I stayed with her until about 2 o'clock or something, past 2, I think. And we live kind of near the as you know, we live near the hospital, 30 minutes walking or so. And, you know, it was like 2 a.m., 2:30. It must have been 2:30, right? Whatever, past 2. I walked home. On the way home, I stopped by Yoshinoya, which is a really cheap, dumpy kind of restaurant, fast food. They have like gyudon. I ordered the bibimbap set, which is like this Korean food, and a beer. And I remember the waiter said, oh yeah, you had to buy things with a ticket. In those days, we had waiters. I don't know if they have waiters in the future. I think in the future, they're not going to have waiters. But the waiter said, the cook and the waiter, because he did both. I think there was 2 guys working behind the counter. And there were 3 people at the counter. There's like a U counter. I went to the bathroom, and some guy had left the door open, but he didn't lock it. So I walked in. This guy, like, I had to wait for him to get out. I remember that. And then I sat down, and the guy said, "You have to order over there." And I had to go to a machine and put money in the machine and order. And then I sat down and waited. And when the guy saw that I had ordered a beer, he asked me, "Are we driving tonight?" Which I thought was pretty responsible. You know, I was surprised, like they care. And I said, "No, I'm just walking." And I had a beer, had my food, and just thought about you. Went home, got home at like 3 o'clock, 3:30. I think I got to bed like 5 that night. I don't remember now. And that was it. The next day I went back to the hospital and changed you for the first time. Your first poop was like black tar. It was weird. It was like paste. It was like that stuff that the Australian people eat, that weird stuff they put on bread. Vegemite. It was just weird. And it wouldn't come off, you know. The nurse was like, "Why don't you try it?" I'm like, "Okay, I can do this, you know, I can do it." Lift up your legs, and I had to really wipe your balls a lot. Sorry to tell you this. But the nurse was really good. She had a good hand. She helped me wiping your, you know, your little kintama there. And I remember your little asshole was it. I was like, "Where did this poop come from?" Because it didn't even look like you had an asshole. It was so tiny. It was just this tiny little like dot. Like I guess I didn't see anything coming out of it, but I imagine that must be where the poop is coming from. But it was so tiny. And that was the first time I changed you. Then I fed you. She gave me a bottle. I don't know if this was all the same day. I think it might have been the same day. It might have been that Monday. And when they gave us a bottle, they only gave us 10 millimeters of milk, which is tiny. It's like, I don't think even this is 10 millimeters. It's like half a shot. And I gave it to you, and at first you wouldn't drink it because I put it right here. And the nurse is like, "Shove it all the way in." So I was like, "Okay." And I had to push it. Oh, actually, I can show you. Just a minute. So this is what the bottle looks like, right? This is what one of our students, our good friends gave us. So at first I would do it like this. And then, this holds liquor usually, by the way. And she's like, "No, go all the way." So I had to put it in all the way into your mouth. And then you started sucking. And you sucked the bottle. You sucked your bottle, and you had your milk. You were good. I had to turn you over and burp you. And I couldn't even tell that you burped, to be honest. I mean, but everyone said, "Oh, he burped." I'm like, "Really? I didn't know." But when the nurses slap your back, they slap you really hard. They're like they're like really slapping you. And I'm thinking, wow, doesn't that hurt? But I guess you're okay, you know, because they do it a lot. And you seem fine. So today's Friday, 3:21 a.m. And you are 3 or 4 days old now. And today you are in the NICU clinic because you have something called Odan, which is jaundice for children. They found it today. And apparently it's not a big deal. But you're the only kid, like they say it's no big deal, but you're the only kid in the NICU who has it. And the NICU is full of kids. Like you're lucky. Some of those kids were born at 700 grams. They've been in there for 5 months. But you're doing pretty good. And the doctor said it's no big deal. We just got to put you under ultraviolet rays. So you're under some ultraviolet lights tonight. Probably not at night. I don't know if they got them on all the way, but they put some really cool goggles on your face. Not goggles, but bandages on your face. And Yoko says you look like Cyclops from X-Men. Unfortunately, your mother's blood pressure is still really high. It was 199 yesterday. It's 180 today. It's hovering, going up and down. So hopefully your mom, will be better in the next couple of days. And hopefully your jaundice will be gone. And, I thought looking back at the video, you were really pink in the first video. And then yesterday you were kind of yellowish. And I guess it's because of the odan, or the jaundice, which apparently is pretty common. So by the time you see this, you'll know that you had that. Your mom went through that. They're going to release your mom from the hospital next Wednesday, which is, I think, February 3rd or something. And you're going to spend the first month out of the hospital. They're going to tain suru you. You're going to spend the first month at your grandma's house. And I'm going to be Daddy, who's going to be here alone making these stupid videos. But hopefully your mom will send pictures of you every day. And I'll be able to see you on the weekends, right? And this is how our life began. So, that's for everyone watching. Thank you. Thank you for watching. But this is really for you, little Godzilla. I don't even know your name yet. We have 2 weeks to choose your name. We got a couple things. I will tell you what was shot down. Your grandpa wanted to call you Francisco Javier, Xavier, or which one or the other. He's, something first middle name was going to be Francisco or Xavier, but your mom thinks that people would bully you in Japan because that's of course the name of the Jesuit monk that introduced Christianity to Japan. And I don't think my father even knew that. I think he just liked the names. But anyway, so thanks for watching, man. Thanks for watching, little boy, little son, little man, whatever your name is. And thanks everyone else for watching, for sharing this time with me. I enjoy reading all the beautiful, lovely comments, and I'll make sure when my son gets older, he will read those comments as well. I'll read them to him. Just amazing to share this moment with everyone. And, I know not everyone's going to have kids, but for those of you who do, it is an amazing thing. And there are certain things in life that every person only certain people can experience, and I'm sure there's many things that I won't be able to experience, like giving birth to a child, for example. But the experience of becoming a father is just amazing, and I'm very thankful that I got this opportunity. And that's my video. That's my laundry video. Thanks for watching. Good night.